All right, go with me for just a second here. You're heading into a competition or a big performance and you start noticing some of these little anxieties, little thoughts that pop up, right? How important this game really is to you, the people that are counting on you, how you compare with maybe the opponents on the other side of the field. And then someone asks you a question, are you ready? And outwardly you say, yes, of course I'm ready, because who's gonna say no to someone that's relying on them to perform? But inwardly you ask yourself that same question. But that question kind of turns into all the reasons that maybe you're not ready. Images of challenges that you faced in the past come up, and the little mistakes that you made. Feelings of not being good enough rise into your gut, and that doom loop begins and you don't catch it. You let it start spinning faster and faster as the fight just gets harder and harder. You may unknowingly start seeking confirmation bias, meaning you only hear or see things that confirm your thinking, meaning if you're thinking poorly, you're only seeing things that confirm your poor performance as an athlete. You hit the competition space now, right? Whether it's the field or a track or a course or a court with unhelpful psychological momentum. You play tight, you play hesitant, you're making bad decisions, your body language is poor, and the competition and the crowd, well, they can see all of the little signs that you're cracking. This is an experience of self-doubt, and I promise you, every athlete that has ever been has needed to work with this component of sport, and every athlete is unique in how self-doubt comes about. This example above is something that actually came from me and my experiences, and I hope that I can help you understand what you can do in order to omit self-doubt and become the most confident athlete you can be. Hey team, this is Coach Nate Last, your guide and ally on this journey in mental grit and elite performance. Now here at Mental Grit Consulting, we're democratizing mental skills training, making training typically reserved for collegiate and professional athletes accessible to you, the teen athletes who want to build their head game and achieve their full athletic potential when they're teenagers, right? To set yourself up for success in life. Now, self-doubt may start in the form of a question. It may start in the form of an unexpected circumstance that you have to face, a new and unusual challenge, an injury, or maybe even a certain person might trigger that self-doubt. The commonality in all of these scenarios is the doom loop occurs. You have heard me talk about this before, right? The effect of the mind-body connection is so powerful, and that continuous loop, when unhelpful thinking leads to unhelpful feelings that lead to your body and mind kind of feeling crappy, which leads to suboptimal actions and poor outcomes. And then more unhelpful thinking comes about because of the bad outcomes, and it goes around and around and around and around. That's the doom loop, and we've all been there. But before we dive into what we can actually do about the self-doubt, I just want to quickly put in a placeholder that if you're new here or haven't done so already, I'm encouraging you right now to hit that subscribe button below. Join our growing community of gritty athletes, parents, and coaches, and gain access to a wealth of resources designed to help you conquer your mental game. Don't forget to also hit the bell icon so you never miss out on the latest tips and strategies that I'm going to be providing. And if you find value here in our videos, share them with your friends and your teammates. Remember, the journey towards mental grit is one best traveled together. Everything's way more fun with friends. You know that. Right? Now, what do we do about the self-doubt? What are the tactics that you can integrate to let the doubt go and embrace the confidence within you? Well, every athlete I work with in private training, I gotta tell you this right now, they need something a little bit different, and that what we find works for them might not work for you. And remember, these things that we're gonna be talking about, they're not prescriptions, but rather opportunities and potential tactics that you can work on for you. See if you can apply them and see what resonates best. Tactic number 1. Now, big picture here, masters of confidence are really deliberate in spinning up that psychological momentum, their flywheel, early in the day or days leading up to competition. They move through these routines, pre-performance, and primers, right, to set themselves up for success. So if this is what the masters of confidence are doing, are you doing anything similar? What do your pre-performance routines look like? What are you doing deliberately to spin up that flywheel and start bulletproofing your mind and body to compete? If you don't do anything, you're leaving your confidence up to chance, and that can feel like your confidence can be extremely variable, which can lead to some poor outcomes, unfortunately. Now, tactic number 2, even the masters of confidence can find themselves in a doom loop. Sometimes they need to halt the unhelpful psychological momentum and snap out through physical and psychological defense tactics like maybe cold plunges or highlight reel replays, or even something as simple as a secret handshake with a trusted teammate. So I ask you, what are the little tactics that you can use to snap that negative momentum if you do find yourself there? If you don't have anything, consider what I like to call the snap, get big, and breathe routine, where you would grab a rubber band, put it on your wrist, and if you do find yourself in that negative momentum, snap that rubber band so you can snap out of it and get that physical sensation. And then after that, deliberately take up as much space as you possibly can. In that space, take 5 deep breaths on a 4x4 count, and then proceed with the next action. Now, what is that 4x4 count? It's essentially what we call a box breath. 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold. 5 times repeated. If you can go through that, that'll give you enough space in order to make the next deliberate decision to create that flywheel effect, to start spinning up that psychological momentum through your thinking and your actions. Tactic number 3 here, there is nothing like a teammate that is battling for you. And athletes have a fierce attitude when defending their teammates. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is stop listening and bring that same attitude that a teammate would bring to defend you, but bring it for yourself. Talk to yourself. Stop listening to yourself, right? Tell that internal dialogue what's up. Act as if the internal thinking is another person and let them know that there's a time and a place for that dialogue, but that time and a place is not right now. It's not the time and a place for criticism. Come to your own defense with the same vigor that your team would come to defend you if they heard the crap talk that's happening in your mind. Ultimately, those are 3 different tactics that you can use, and they're all a little bit different. They all play a role in removing the self-doubt. Now, important takeaways here that you have to understand. Self-doubt comes from a place of within. It comes from a place that you are doing this to you, and you have to take full responsibility as an athlete for putting yourself in that position. And then you need to think or act yourself into a place where confidence can replace the self-doubt. Number 2, there is a time and a place for acknowledging the doubt. It's okay to acknowledge that it's there. There may be lessons in the doubt that you have. However, it's not okay to spin into that doom loop if you want to perform in the moment. Know what you might be doubting in the moment and explore the validity of those doubts in practice and in training. Leave it for the practice and training days, because you got to give yourself an opportunity to explore that stuff, or it's just going to keep coming about again and again and again. Number 3, awareness is key in not only combating self-doubt, but also in generating confidence. You have to be aware enough to know when you may be spiraling down that doom loop. You have to take a look at your head game and stay attentive to that mind-body connection to make it work for you. Now, here's a few things that you might be doing that might be causing the self-doubt to run rampant in your head game. And if you're doing any of these things, realize it's okay. It's just not okay to keep doing them if you want to find yourself in a place of confidence next time. Number 1, comparison. If you're finding yourself comparing yourself with other athletes, you realize that you're opening up a space for self-doubt to come in. Disengage from the idea of comparisons and just be present with yourself. Compete against you, because that's the only competition that matters most. Number 2, playing based on expectations of your performance. If you are expecting a certain type of performance out of yourself and you're not meeting that expectation in the moment of gameplay, that's going to create a lot of space for self-doubt to creep in. Let the expectations go. Play where your feet are and be present. Do what you can with what you have, where you're at. Number 3, when you see yourself fail in your mind's eye. Now understand that this is one of those components that you might not have complete control over right now. This is a skill set to control that image that you create in your mind. But if you're generating failure in your mind, that's gonna create a lot of space for self-doubt to creep in and ruin your game. Number 4, when you tie your self-worth to the game that you play. I see this happen a lot with athletes when they believe that they are worth the outcomes that they achieve, when that is completely false. You are not the game that you play. You are you, and you play a game. I want you to understand that if you find yourself tying that worth of yourself to the outcomes that you're achieving, you're gonna be creating a lot of atmosphere for self-doubt to start creeping in deeper and deeper and deeper. That brings us to the end of the conversation today, and I hope you found these tactics helpful and can apply them to your own unique athletic journey. Remember, you are the master of your own mind. mind. Yes, self-doubt is a natural part of the process, but it is by no means the ruler of your performance. It's a visitor, not a tenant. The keys to combating self-doubt are twofold: awareness and action. Be aware of when self-doubt is creeping in, when that doom loop starts to spin up. Acknowledge it, and then act. Do something about it. Use the tactics that we've discussed to build your routines, build your defense mechanisms, and speak up for yourself. As athletes, the greatest battles we face aren't always on the field, the track, the course, or the court. Sometimes they're within our own minds. And remember, your self-worth is not tied to your game. You are more than an athlete. Your victories are important. They do not define you. Your failures are lessons, not defining moments. Avoid falling into the pit traps of comparisons and expectations. You are your own competition, and your progress is your success. If you're struggling with self-doubt and are not sure how to navigate your mental game, know that it's okay to do some training. This is all about skill development. Mental skills training is a valuable asset to incorporate into your training plan, and it's not just about physical strength and skill. The power of the mind, as you well know, is equally important. The beauty of this training lies in customization, and every individual is different, and thus the mental skills required will vary from one person to another. And I pride myself on being a coach that enables that authenticity and that uniqueness in every athlete that I work with. In the end, be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to feel, to fall, and then to rise. Just remember that every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But until next time, keep fighting, keep growing, and never let self-doubt hold you back. Get grit, everybody.